Do you all see a recording sign on the top of your screen on the left-hand corner?
Yes.
It shows? Okay, because I don't see it, but okay, I want to make sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We'll be getting started in just a few seconds here, just letting everybody getting a chance to get into the room. Okay, good morning. Welcome to the third annual California College Affordability Summit. My name is Catherine Avila, and I will be your tech moderator for this session. I'm here to provide support to both you and the presenters. So if you have any questions or concerns with the Zoom interface, please send a private message to me. Just look for my name in the chat, Catherine Avila, and make sure to send a private message, and I'll help you resolve your concerns. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to our team here on presenting on strategies that help Jurupa Hills High School improve their FAFSA and CADAA rate. Today we have Renelle Delon as Director of College and Career Readiness, Roberto Santiago, Assistant Principal of Jurupa Hills High, Mary Malo, Counselor Jurupa Hills High School, and then we also have September Bullock, is also another counselor at Jurupa Hills High School.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you guys to our session. I hope that you'll find the strategies that we will be sharing practical and easy for you to replicate and implement at your sites. Before we get started, let me give you some background information about Jurupa Hills High School. Jurupa Hills High School is located in Fontana in the county of San Bernardino. We were founded in 2010. We're in the south end of Fontana. If you're not familiar with Fontana, it's the home of the California Speedway, where NASCAR holds their annual race in March. Our first graduating class was in 2013. Our student population actually fluctuates between 1,800 and 1,900 students. We average annually between 420 and 450 seniors. As you can see, our demographics, 85% of our students are free and reduced lunch. That kind of gives you an idea of the students that we serve. We serve a high poverty population with 87.8% primarily Latino. And then you can see the demographics from there. Next slide, please.
So yes, thank you. So since 2013, and it's not reflected here on this particular slide, but we've done a really great job of tracking not only our submission rates for financial aid, but also our completion rate. And on average, we have 88% of our students submit their financial aid applications, and roughly about 83% complete their FAFSA applications. Next slide, please. And a lot of this is really evidenced by the awards that we've received, not just at the county level, but also at the state level, as well as other awards that we've received locally. And we've been featured in different publications. And we believe that the strategies that we use at Jurupa will not only help other schools in the state, but also nationwide. Next slide, please.
So how did we get here? So we think we know our students. As you could tell by the demographics, we have 85% free or reduced lunch. Most of our students are the first in their family to go to college, and some of them may not think that even college is a possibility. And so as a counseling team, what we've talked about over the years is how we can improve our college going rate, as well as our college, our financial aid rate. We've looked at how we can remove barriers to higher education, what kind of opportunities we can provide for our students so they can go on to post-secondary education. How can we lower that financial aid burden? We know that that's a big burden for our students, and they don't know a lot of the ins and outs of the financial aid application. And then by doing that, we're improving our access to higher education for our families. But then also a significant piece is educating our parents and our students on that financial aid process. Next slide, please. So one of the supports we have at our district office is Dr. DeLon. She's here with us today. She's our director, excuse me, of college and career readiness. And in 2016, she gave us a directive. It was a little lofty at the time, but it's something that every year we try to do. 100% of our seniors will complete the FAFSA Dream Act, and we really do try to do that. And then 100% of our students apply into college. That was the directive that, that she gave us, and now it's well known and expected from our students and from our parents, I'm sorry, that they will complete that application. So it gives us another strategy to help our students complete that application and the Dream Act. Next slide, please. So on the screen, there are three strategies, three of our strategies that we've implemented here at Jurupa to address some of those challenges that we have. One of the challenges, of course, is getting them to complete the application. So number one is getting staff buy-in. That is super important. It's invaluable. Getting our staff to buy into helping our students complete that financial aid application is very important. We want to make sure that we share our data. That's one of the things that we've done. We've shared our data and our completion rates with our staff. So they see what we do and they support us. And we publicize the number and the amount of students, the number of financial aid awards that they receive, and also the number of students that receive financial awards like the Cal Grant or scholarships. So they can actually see what we do by looking at the data. It also, by sharing the data with our staff, the staff buy-in, it gives the students another person on their team who encourages them to complete the FAFSA. So it's not just coming from the counselors, it's coming from their teachers, it's coming from other staff. So it's another person on their team. Secondly, we make it a team effort. Counselors, teachers, administrators, staff, they all know that this is part of our initiative from the district to improve completion rates for the FAFSA Dream Act, as well as college application rates. So that's something that's really important. We have a classroom competition as part of that team effort. We want everyone to get that buy-in and everyone to feel as if they're part of the team. So we have classroom competitions with our senior seminar and our AVID classes. And the classroom that has 100% completion rate gets a breakfast or lunch. So it might not sound like a lot, but our students and our teachers are really into it. So that's another way to foster camaraderie as well at our site, but also make it a team effort. And then finally, what we've done is we've created a senior seminar class. And that class was created to ensure that our students get that same information that they're receiving, that they're all getting the same information. They all know what the deadlines are. They all know what the expectations are. And we're all having the same conversation. So again, it opens up dialogue within, among the staff, among the teachers and the students about what our expectations are. So it's part of definitely our plan to support completing the FAFSA and the Dream Act. So really, overall, our strategy is all hands on deck. Everyone is involved, everybody knows what we're doing, and everyone can see what we're doing when we do those completion reports. Next slide.
So one of the strategies that we use to increase our FAFSA completion rates or results are behind the scene reports from WebGrants. The WebGrant reports are key in our FAFSA success. WebGrants over the years has become pretty friendly to use. The reports are easy to run and can let you know on a daily basis the status of your students' FAFSA or Dream Act applications. This is really important. Reporting done on a regular basis serves as a constant reminder of the FAFSA and Dream Act completion rate. We suggest having a designated point person who will run the reports from WebGrants. This will eliminate work for everyone who is working to help students complete their applications. The reports that we run on a regular basis are the student summary report and the non-SSN GPA status report. The student summary report lists students who have completed the application and those who have submitted the application but have a no EFC code. The no EFC code means that the application is on hold, like pending a parent signature page, or the application has data that needs correcting. The second report we run is the non-SSN GPA status report. This report tells us which students have completed the application and which ones have not. It does not show that no EFC code. So what we do then is we combine these two lists using a simple VLOOKUP Excel formula, but you can use any other program that works for you. Once we merge the updated list, so once we merge the updated list from WebGrants that shows which students have completed the application and which students have no EFC codes and what students have not completed the applications, then our next step is to run a list from our student information system. And on that list, we make sure the name of the students there, the counselor, the teacher, and the period. And then we merge this with our WebGrants list using that same VLOOKUP, Excel VLOOKUP program, and we create our super friendly list. So this takes a little bit of, it's a little bit of a challenge at the beginning, but once you figure it out, running the different lists, it gets easier. We feel that having this user-friendly list is, and that's updated all the time, is really crucial to our success. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you can see on this slide, the web grant list are pulled from the data transfer as seen on the slide here. And then the student summary and non-SSN GPA status reports are on the drop-down menu as shown on the right. Another report that we occasionally run is the financial aid application, the no GPA report. This report will let you know which students have completed the application, but there has been no GPA submitted. To make sure students qualify, you will need to submit their GPAs, otherwise they won't get funding. Next slide. So this slide demonstrates the need to run both the non-SSN GPA status report and the student summary report. So as you can see in the highlighted example, the non-SSN GPA report shows that the highlighted student is a yes, meaning the student completed the application. But on the student summary report, the same student on the left shows that the student has a no EFC code. So it's really important that you run both lists so that you know which of your students have that no EFC code. It's extremely important to work with those students that have that no EFC to ensure that they correct their FAFSA or Dream Act error code. If errors are left uncorrected, of course, students will lose out on any aid that they would have been entitled to. And the no EFCs also don't count toward your FAFSA completion rate. So we make sure to correct all of those no EFCs. Okay, next slide, please. So this is an example of our user-friendly report. So this actually shows the student name. The student names and IDs, of course, are taken off because of privacy, but the list is, it's always an Excel list that is filterable. So counselors, teachers can sort their list with just their students on it. It shows the student status, and it shows it's an easy list for counselors and teachers to use. And the teachers are often asking me, hey, can you run another list? Because if they've been working really hard with a student and they want to see if that student cleared, because that's the exciting thing for them, is to see their list have less and less no apps on it. And this also is kind of what feeds our competition going on, because the other teachers can see, you know, their friend teacher that they're in competition with and see if they have who's winning, right? So they can see how many no apps everybody has. So it kind of keeps our competition going. So this the running of these lists, you know, weekly, bi-weekly, sometimes daily, if their teachers are really bugging me, you know, we run them as often as we can so that everybody knows the status of the students. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, so September talked a little bit about our senior seminar class. So we started the senior seminar class about 5 years ago, primarily because we have about 20% of our students who are in the AVID program, and we wanted to make sure that 100% of the kids had access to all the information that the AVID kids had. So we created a senior seminar class, and the goal is that all seniors have a plan after high school. The second reason that we created a senior seminar class is because, as you know, it is incredibly difficult for counselors to pull kids out of class. Teachers don't always want counselors to pull kids out of class. And there's so many details that are connected to the financial aid application and to the college application that it became really cumbersome. So the idea was that we create this course during the regular school days so that all seniors would go through the course and have access to the exact same information. Next slide, please. And so essentially what we did was we brought educators together. We had teachers in the room, we had counselors in the room, we had the AVID coordinators in the room, and we had admin in the room to really talk about what should this curriculum look like when a student is starting the college application process all the way to the very end. And so as you can see, we have lessons that are embedded within the course where we talk about the mechanics of the FAFSA step-by-step approach, as well as understanding the financial aid packages. Next slide, please.
So really, our successes really go back to our whys. You know, when we first started talking about this, of course, is, you know, how do we lower or reduce those barriers for education, for higher education for our students? And so it's still a work in progress, but we've implemented some school policies that continue to provide the needed support to help break down those barriers and also to help educate our parents and our students. So in our senior seminar classes and our AVID classes, they get initial support in completing the financial aid application early on. We let them know, you know, sophomore, junior year, really they probably hear it freshman year because we talk about it in our presentations. You're going to need to complete a college application, but you're also going to need to complete the financial aid application, the FAFSA or the Dream Act. So this is something that when we do our presentations, we always touch on, we always talk to them about it. When they are seniors, they are given a list of information that they will need to complete the application. You know, some things are kind of obscure, like when your parents were married, what is their date of birth? You know, of course, we know some of our students don't even know when their parents' birthday is. They might know the birthday, but they don't know the year. So that information they need, of course, to complete the FAFSA. So we provide them a list so that they know this is what you're going to need to complete the FAFSA. We also do the same thing with the FSA ID, making sure that we get that done early so that when the FAFSA opens up, they're ready to go on day one. Teachers also, as well as counselors, they do step-by-step with the students. So, you know, some students, of course, they can complete it on their own. They're good, they're good to go, but other students are going to need you to sit with them. So teachers and counselors, you know, we sit with them and we provide step-by-step directions for them. Another benefit for our senior seminar, and one of the things that we push here at Jurupa, is that completing the FAFSA or the Dream Act is a grade. So it's part of the curriculum, so it's expected for them to complete the application, so it's part of their grade, and it's a significant part of their grade. Students know on day one that this is completing the college application, as well as the FAFSA or the Dream Act is a significant part. So most of them get, well, not most, but some of them get it done in a timely manner. Others, we of course have to continue to bug until the deadline and even after. Again, one of the big pieces that we really, I think the students enjoy and the teachers enjoy is that competition piece, you know, between the classrooms, you know, who they write it on their board, they'll put the student's name, hey, don't forget this, or, you know, this is our percentage of students that are completed the FAFSA. As counselors, we're looking at that list every week as well. When we meet students just on a one-on-one, maybe for a grad check or even for grades, we're looking to see if they're on that FAFSA list. And so it's something that is a conversation that we're always having. And then another benefit we're seeing in our district is that friendly competition between our high schools. It's just kind of like we're looking on that leaderboard. We're like, okay, where's Jurupa this year? You know, where are we? You know, where do we need it? What's our percentage? And it's not just so much about the competition, but really what we want to see is to help our students break down those barriers. We really want to let them know that there is an opportunity for you and that college can be affordable and that these are the things that you need to do to get you there. Next slide, please.
Yeah, there are some other pieces, I think, and we'll talk about this toward the end or during the Q&A part of it, but funding sources to remove barriers. I think when I first got to the district in 2014, we probably had allocated a little bit more than $1 million around college and career readiness and college affordability. Since then, we have increased that amount that we put in the LCAP, and right now is over $11 million. Part of what we try to do is support every effort and avenue that is related to college and career readiness and college affordability. And some of that monies are being used to pad the hours for the counselor. So we know that if a counselor gets to school at 7:30, oftentimes they're there before that time and their day ends at 2:30. More often than not, during this season of time, they're going to be staying later with the students. They're going to be holding right now virtual meetings with the students. They're going to be meeting with the students on the weekend. So part of what I try to do with the money is put it to the side so that we can pay the counselors additional monies to help support our kids. In addition to that, the district is paying for college application fees for every senior. So we have a formula that we work with and we give that to the school sites and we leave that really up to their discretion. And so essentially we try to make sure if a student is not receiving any type of support, if they don't get the fee waiver, that is also something that we're paying for. That money is also dedicated to the AVID program, AP, IB, dual enrollment, et cetera. The monies are also used to help support training for school counselors, as well as for our AVID coordinators. And we are also using the funding to hire temporary positions. And what that might look like, it varies from site to site based on the need. So as the schools communicate a need to me, we take a look at that to see if we can bring additional people on to support that. So all of that is embedded into the LCAP. Our other funding sources are ELO, our Learning Opportunity Grant, and then also the new grant, the A to G grant that we are receiving. And I'll give you an example of how those funds are being used, or the ELO anyway is being used right now. We gave each high school $40,000 to take kids on overnight field trips, because we know that oftentimes our kids have never visited a college campus. So they talk about college, but they've never been to a college. And we also wanted them to have that experience of being at the college campus overnight. So we wanted to make sure that we funded that. We also knew by kids going to visit those colleges that they would also learn about financial aid. So there's a connection between what is being talked about in senior seminar and then what they experience once they get onto the college campus. So we're trying to do a lot of wraparound services with the students. And then the monies have also been used to take our parents to visit the colleges. This is really important, especially with our demographics, because a lot of our families have not gone off to college. So when kids come back and they're talking about they want to go to college, they want to they have to be able to pay for it. We want the families to go and have that same experience. It's not overnight, but a similar experience that the kids had when they visited the campus. And so that's how some of our monies are being used. And part of what we try to do is we want to really make sure that the efforts at every school site is supported financially. We want to remove any barrier that exists for kids to apply to college and to get college paid for. All right, our next slide, please. And so that wraps up our presentation, and we are happy to answer.
Actually, can I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead, Mary.
Sorry, I think we left I think we're missing a slide, but anyways, I want to just talk about basically the FAFSA and the Dream Act. It's a school-wide effort. Our counselors, though, play a major role in the completion success. Our counselors educate parents during our junior and senior nights about the FAFSA application and about the expectation that all seniors will complete the application. And as you know, probably when you're working with your kids, about 50 to 60% of kids probably complete the FAFSA, with a little encouragement. You tell them to do it and they do it because they understand the importance of wanting money for college. It's that other 40% that are a real pain, right? So we do what we can, we tell them to do it, they don't do it. The senior seminar teachers, they work and encourage those students to complete the application, but in November, they've already moved on to other assignments. So that 40% really is then the counselor's responsibility to get those kids to finish that application. And so while it is a team effort, the counselors really work with that last 40%. They meet with those students individually and within groups. They call their parents, they have meetings with the parents and the students to complete the application. They post on social media, all forms of social media, send out mass emails, individual emails. They're just relentless in bugging the students to complete that application. It can probably take 2 to 3 dozen times sometimes calling the student in to try to get them to complete that application and working with them. So they really work hard to get those applications complete. Many times it's the delivery of the message, right? A lot of times people say the kids just doesn't want to fill it out, you know, or they're not going to college, but it's the message that we deliver. It's that all students are expected to complete the application, whether they're going to college or not. And for those that don't think they're going to be attending college, we let them know that they may change their mind. We let the parents know they may change their mind when they see their friends in college. They may say, oh, you know, I think I want to go to college after all. And so this keeps their doors open to complete the application, even if they don't think that they plan on attending college. And so it's with our counselors' dedication and persistent work in helping students complete the application that we have such a high FAFSA completion rate. And we're working to make it higher. Not happy with 84%. We want to do better. So we're always working to improve that. Okay, I think we can open it up to questions now.
There were a few questions in the chat. Let's see, the first one being, how do you fit this into an already impacted schedule? Is it an elective?
It is an elective, but it's a required elective. So if the students that are not in the AVID program, all those other students have to take senior seminar. So it's just something that's built into our schedule for our students.
Yeah,
Mary,
so we
you wanted
just,
to add to that?
Yeah, so we make them take it, just like the September said, it's just a requirement. We did have it this year. We thought, well, let's try it in a 1 semester class. So we have it only 1 semester this year. And in order to get out of senior seminar, they had to have their FAFSA completed. And so I think next year we're going back to the full year. The students miss out the 2nd semester on, you know, WebGrants, completing their account on some of the financial aid part. So they're going back to the full year class next year.
Lovely, thank you. The second question that came in was, how would you suggest funding for the breakfast/lunch incentive if school funding is not available?
Yeah, so
Well,
I think I answered that question already in the chat. So for Fontana Unified, the preference, of course, is that the schools set aside funding to pay for things like breakfast or something that is connected to the competition. However, if it is part of the school site's proposal to me around funding different types of events and activities that they cannot cover in the school site budget, I have funded that, or I might fund like major events that they might have on campus.
and when we don't have funding set aside, the counselors have come up with money and we paid for it ourselves as well.
Great, and then this other question I believe was already answered, but now I don't know if you would like to expand on it, but this question was, is there district funding, or is this district funding or specific to the high school?
Yeah, so it is predominantly, I would say, district funding, because we are funding multiple things for the school sites. So we might be funding PD related to the counselors, PD related to AVID, PD related to IB, AP. There's so many different things that we're funding, but I have a whole category that's dedicated to school counselors. So what the school counselors need or the admin need to support whatever the college and career readiness initiatives are, we fund it. Does that help?
Yes, and then another question that came in, again, it's just open if you would like to expand on it. I know through chat it's so difficult to write everything you'd like to say. But this other question is the senior seminar class an A through G credit class?
Yes, it is. It is approved as an A through G elective.
Okay, great. And then the second question to that one was, is the senior seminar a 1-year class or can they complete it in 1 semester?
So-
Go ahead, Mary.
We've mostly had it a year class, but this year we did do it as a semester class. So you can do it in a semester and get the majority of information in for those students. Either way.
Yeah, I think it depends on the schedule at the school site. I think there's a way to collapse everything in a semester and then you can extend it. Just depends on the amount of support that's needed. It depends on what you're able to fit in your regular master schedule.
This year we did this one semester class. And so the students that came out, majority of those were the students that had already completed the FAFSA, the ones that had done their college applications. The ones that are still in there, for the most part, are some students just like it, so they stayed in there. But the majority of students that are in there, maybe we're still working on getting their FAFSA completed. They really don't know what they want to do. They don't have that plan for after high school graduation. So they're still in there. We're trying to get them to do some more career research and things like that. So those students, it was kind of their choice, or because they hadn't completed the FAFSA, that they're still in there for this semester. But like I said, next year, I think they're going to go back to all seniors are going to take it for the full year because they feel like that is benefiting the students more.
Okay, and another question that came in was, when you first started the class, did all seniors get it, or did you start with just a few sections? If just a few sections, how did you decide who had to take it?
When we first started it, it was a pilot class. It was piloted. Once we got through the pilot, then we had all seniors take it who weren't who weren't AVID and who weren't part of our IBTOK program. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
If just a few sections, how did you decide who had to take it?
Well, originally when we first, it was our AVID coordinator taught it. After that, it was, and this is something we've worked on to try to improve upon, is it was a teacher who, or a teacher who had space in their schedule where, let's say they were teaching 3 social study classes and I had space to create a 2 senior seminar. That's how it was. Now, this year, we identified teachers who we want to teach it. So we built that into their schedule. And that way we have the right teacher. You need to have somebody that's pretty gung-ho motivated, like an AVID teacher who's gonna sit there and not only be a cheerleader, but also motivate the students and let them know that, hey, you know, they also can, by completing the FAFSA, it opens up opportunity and doors to colleges that they otherwise might have not had.
And to answer the question, that the kids that were chosen the first, when it was just the trial year, it was just kids that wanted it. We just advertised it, and the kids that wanted to take it, were allowed to take it. There was only one section the first year.
Perfect, thank you. Another question that came in, when it comes to the WebGrants account, do students have to create a FAFSA ID and then a separate WebGrants account?
So the FSA ID is for the FAFSA. That is their electronic signature. And then once their FAFSA is submitted, they're going to do a separate WebGrants for students with the number 4 in it. You go to that website, WebGrants for students, and that basically is where it's going to show their financial aid, and it's going to be where they choose the college that they will be attending. So they do that about this time of the year. That's separate. It's the same name, the WebGrants, but it's different on our side. We're looking at the portal running list. The students are on a different WebGrants. It's for the students, and so it's specific to their financial aid information. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Let's see. I want to see if they are responding in the chat. There's no responses, but so far it's just questions.
Okay.
The next question is, how do you determine who teaches this class and how do you train them?
The senior seminar class, as I mentioned earlier, was basically if a teacher had room in their schedule, we were able to add the class. Unlike, you know, we found that that's not the best thing to do. So like when you identify singletons and doubletons in the master schedules, even tripletons, what have you, you would actually build those courses first. So what we've done is we plugged in the names of the teachers who are going to have that we wanted to teach the course. And that's how we identified. I sat today with the senior seminar, for lack of a better word, coordinator. And she and myself identified teachers who have requested or have asked to teach it, and we plug their name in. And so that way we can have some consistency in the program. And what we'll do is next year is we'll provide probably some substitutes, classroom period subs, so that they can rotate a common prep. That way it's not always on the same period. They don't have a common prep, but we'll give them and rotate the period in which that they can get some training, and she'll facilitate the training of the teachers. So that way we can make sure that we continue to grow the program.
And in the past, one of the things that we've done is as counselors, we've been like assigned, or we've worked with specific either senior seminar teacher or an AVID teacher. And so teachers would be able to come to us directly and ask us questions. If they're unclear about something, we would go into the classroom and work directly with those students. So that's one of the ways that we've continued to help train the teachers that are teaching the class as well as getting in there and working with our students.
Having the right teachers is crucial, right? So one teacher, does a fantastic job and gets 100% of her kids to complete the FAFSA. Yay. And then we have another teacher maybe that doesn't do quite so well, and maybe only 20% of them do it, So getting the right teacher in there is crucial. Getting the kids excited about their future, it's crucial.
Awesome, thank you. And last question here is, what curriculum are you using to teach the class?
The curriculum is kind of just things put together. We had a slide on there of the different components of the class, and it was just things that we wanted seniors to know. The AVID coordinator and the counselors got together and decided what should be taught in the class. And so I don't know if you can pull that slide back up. It was
there it
this
is.
one. Yes. So basically all these things are covered in the class. So we just thought these were important things that students should know.
I think some of the curriculum also has come from the AVID program, as well as there's curriculum that's embedded in Naviance. We also use Naviance as our college and career platform, along with College Next. And so they have some of the curriculum already built in. So it's just really extracting some of that information and putting it in the context of the classroom.
Perfect, thank you. Well, those are all the questions I see in the chat. Unless anybody has any other questions, you're more than welcome to also unmute yourself or write it in the chat.
There's something else that I think probably September or Mary should add around, talk a little bit more about the competition between the teachers and how that really started, and how that's helped to build momentum around really kids completing their FAFSA, and the teachers been heavily involved in doing so.
So you take that one.
Yeah, I think that so when I've been doing the list and everything, and I'm just very competitive on myself. We would run list and like look at our FAFSA completion rate and do it with the counselors, and we shame each other, for whoever had the highest, so we really worked on that. And then when we developed this class, we had actually, this isn't our idea really. We took this from another school that was doing the senior seminar class or something like it. And so we've found that we figured, like, let's just get everybody involved, right? Let's get the senior seminar teachers involved. Let's get the government teachers involved. Let's get the admin involved. Let's get the counselors. And we just basically, when we run the list, it takes a little more time, but we do competitions among the counselors. So whoever in your part of the alphabet, we each have a part of the alphabet. So we're all, what percentage we have, and we list us in, from first place to sixth place. And we do the same with the teachers, and we do the same with the admin. And it kind of gets everybody involved a little bit because, some of us are very competitive. And so they don't like to be in sixth place or seventh place, if we have 10 sections, they don't like that. They want to be in first place. They want to win that $25 gift card, because it's a lot of money. So, I mean, we don't have these huge incentives, but like the teachers still, it's more of like a winning thing. They want to win. And so they really, the teachers that are really into it, really, it just becomes this, like you'll hear them walking around, like they bug me to run the list because, they were in second place and they have two kids that they just worked on and they want to see if that pushed them to first place. It's the race to get to that 100%. We did like a thermometer where we were doing like the school-wide because we were trying to get to, our goal was, 90% to try to get to 90% of completion. And so we did a thermometer where we were trying to get the whole school-wide involved. Then COVID kind of hit and we kind of like, this year has been a little rougher getting things going, but we're trying to do everything to try to get the whole school community involved in understanding the importance of FAFSA, and teachers that, that don't have seniors even know about the FAFSA. So we're trying to get everybody involved to where it's important, and that, and then that competition, we have people that like to win, and that helps our competition out because they tease each other, they joke around, it becomes kind of a fun thing on campus.
And just to piggyback on that, one of the things that Dr. DeLon touched on is, providing us extra hours to meet with students outside of the school day. I know all of us, we do stay late or, come in early, sometimes on weekends, some of the parents that are working are not able to come in and they want to be part of that process. So that gives us some flexibility to, schedule a meeting on a Saturday at 9 o'clock when that's the only time that they're available. And it's not something that we do all the time, but definitely, of course we have home lives too, but it is another opportunity for our students to get that application done, especially because some parents are they're a little hesitant to do the financial aid application. Oh my gosh, all of that personal information that I'm giving out, so it's another way of communicating and educating our parents as well, giving us that extra time and those extra hours to really meet and connect with our parents and our students.
Awesome. And I see a hand up. Gabe Robert, would you like to unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi. I think you guys have done an amazing job. I'm taking copious notes and hoping that I can incorporate a lot of what you've done at our school. I'm just wondering about if you have a timeline for FAFSA completion. Are you looking at just the end of your school year, or do you have a goal in mind when you want to have the majority of your students having completed it?
Well, our goal is by the March 2nd deadline so they can receive the Cal Grant. So we really push for that deadline, all along it's pushed. We always tell them it has to be done in October. Then we say it has to be done in November. And then it has to be done in December. We keep pushing it, but we keep working with them. And then even after the deadline, after the March 2nd or deadline, then we continue to work with them until basically school's out. We continue to work with those seniors that haven't done it.
And at the beginning of the school year, really when we meet with them for grad checks, when we do our presentations, we're pushing the FAFSA, the Dream Act, completing that. And so when it opens, we're trying to get them to finish it by like December. That's just kind of like, let's get it done before we go on break. And it's just, we get a lot of our students done, but really the sooner the better. By February, that's our next kind of like, let's see which, let's try and get these kids done, finish that application by February. But again, as Mrs. Malloy said, we got a list last week and we're still working on, I still got a few kids on there, so I'm still working.
We're not in third place yet, so
We're still
we've been
working on those
slipping.
kids. We're still working on those kids. So really the timeline, of course, is by that March 2nd. But then if we can get those kids the earlier that they know that they have to turn it in, the better it is for us and for the students to have it already taken off their plate.
You know how kids come in for schedule change, at the beginning of the year, all those kids are in there for schedule change. I'm like, have you done your FAFSA yet? These ones that are coming in later, I'm like, have you done your FAFSA yet? I've been asking you to do this FAFSA, but you want me to change your schedule? Not that I would not change their schedule, but we just kind of use every opportunity we can to try to get the kids to do it.
As an administrator too, when I have, this year I'm overseeing seniors, oftentimes when they come into my office, the first thing I ask is, have you completed your FAFSA? So it's a whole school effort. It's just not the counselors, it's just not the admin, it's a whole school effort. And I think that's one of the keys to what we do is we're trying to do this as a team. I think I saw somewhere in the chat where they talked about competitions. We're only about 1 mile south of our nearest high school, and we're always, I think they're always looking at the dashboard too to see where they stand as compared to us. I'm happy to say that we're usually the ones that are at #1 in our district, and we hope to continue that. But they're working just as hard. So it's created friendly banter between the school sites, and what is done district-wide is as everybody else tries to get on, it's just affording more students an opportunity to go to college, not only here at Jurupa, but at Fontana High School, Summit, AB Kaiser, or at any of our schools. So I mean, it's something that's just starting to grow and move across the district.
And just to kind of add to what Mr. Santiago is saying, we absolutely love competitions in our districts, and he is absolutely right. Jurupa Hills has been #1 in our district around financial aid submission and completion rates, but our Faux High School has been #1 around our college application submissions in our district. And so they both have their own bragging rights, and they're always trying to top each other because they are actively looking at the leaderboard. That is the beauty of it, so they can see where they are relative to someone else. And I remember, I don't know, Mary, was it like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we went to a conference, and I told Jurupa Hills I wanted them to occupy the #1 spot for their category on the leaderboard. So for me, it is whatever you need funded, I will fund, because I want to make sure that we get #1 on the leaderboard.
We try.
I know.
No, and friendly. I mean, I think the counselors, because I do run the list. So I bug the counselors a lot about, give them their list all the time. They get a little irritated with me, I think, but I still do it. And they still work with the kids.
Not at all.
They, but yeah, it's because of the counselors. They really work hard trying to get all these kids to complete those applications.
And really there's something exciting about seeing your students realize that barrier to go into college, they don't have it anymore. It's so interesting. Yesterday I had a meeting with a student. She got into a college, and we're going through the numbers. I'm like, with your financial aid, your tuition's paid for. She's like, what? I thought it was, we had to go over her financial aid package, but just seeing her face light up, and that's something that she can tell, her parents. It's something we all do as counselors. We all see that. And so, that FAFSA or that Dream Act is such an important piece to lowering that financial burden for our students. And, it's something that it takes time, but we definitely see the benefit in our students.
Thank you for that. We still have 2 more questions in the chat. Just so let's see, right here we have, how do you educate parents and build trust so that they are comfortable sharing sensitive info with your institution?
A lot of times we just get on the phone. Go ahead, Mary. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I always tell them, you know, I let them know that why the kid needs to fill out, you know, we let them know that it's so important for them to complete the FAFSA. It's going to open up their doors. Kids are more likely to go to college if they complete the FAFSA. So we go through all of that. And then and I tell them, I understand if you're worried about sending your information. I said, you can do it at home with your student. Or if you want, your student can bring the information and I will do it with them. I've done thousands and thousands of them. Or if you want to bring the information and you want to sit here and I can just help you, I won't look at anything. I'll just help you, tell you what to do. If you have a question, I will do that as well. So whatever the parent is comfortable with, I try to make them feel like, you know, it's not like I'm not going to look at their information if they don't want me to. If they want help, I'm there. If they feel like they can do it on their own, that's okay too. So we try to like just whatever the parent's comfortable with.
If I could just add to that, one of our other sites, when they do their college app day, so where the kids actually submit their college application, that is like in their auditorium. And then in the next room, they have a financial aid day. So the parents literally transition from the college application with their paperwork into the other areas so that they can walk through it themselves. And the counselors are simply there just to support and answer additional questions. So I think there's different models that you can try to kind of like get parents involved so that they don't feel uncomfortable sharing their information.
Thank you. And then the second part of that question is, what rationale do you give to students and families who believe they won't receive aid? And what if they're probably correct?
Well, that's a hard one, right? So I just tell them it's still expected that all students to complete the application. And for most students, like, you know, if they are a parent that has upper income, then I explain that they need to complete the FAFSA because, like, for example, my son went to Laverne University. Well, we had to complete the FAFSA. I knew I wouldn't qualify. I had to complete the FAFSA so that he could get the scholarship that Laverne offered him, right? So financial institutions want to see that how much money you're going to get from the government before they give you the tuition money or the scholarship money that's offered from the school site. So that's a good thing to tell parents. And then also just that it doesn't hurt the student. There's also the I lost my train of thought. For the higher income, there is some help for higher income parents. So
I'll add to that, Mary, too. So keeping in mind that financial aid is comprehensive, is not just about need, but is also academic based. And so when parents are helping the kids to fill out the financial aid application, they are still eligible if they're doing well academically for any type of academic scholarships that might be available. That's the same thing that Mary was talking about, and it's not just need-based. In addition to that, financial aid, of course, we also know it doesn't just mean free money, but it also means loans. And so part of our job is to educate the families on what that means and what that really looks like, the difference between the scholarships and the grants and then the loans, et cetera, and then the pros and cons that go along with it. And then we also bring in different financial aid experts to have that same conversation with our families.
We still offer cash for college too, to give parents an opportunity to still come to the school site. We open up a computer lab and to get that done.
Thank you, everyone. I don't see any more questions in the chat. I just wanted to make a quick comment. Thank you for your presentation. I'm actually a graduate from Fontana Unified. I went to Summit High School, so it was amazing hearing you all present. And yeah, FAFSA, yeah, definitely doing that. If it's not, students don't get exposure to FAFSA through AVID, they don't get it at all. So, luckily I was able to get that exposure, and I'm now going to graduate with my master's soon. So really good job. And I'm so happy to see that this is going to expand and, the competition and everything throughout the districts. And I hope it just goes from district to district.
Congratulations to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And okay, so I don't see any more questions coming in. Nobody has their hand raised. So once again, thank you everybody for coming to this presentation session. And thank you all to our presenters for sharing your expertise with all of us and our presenters. And please know that this presentation will be available on the SCED app as well as the CSAC website platform. We also welcome you to use the SCED to provide feedback so we can continue to provide you all with the materials you need, especially for the up and coming application completion requirements. Thank you so much for attending the 3rd Annual California College Affordability Summit, and we hope to see you again next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Brian, after you went in there to the attendance office,